I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend his cause. Maintain the honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
Hello, I'm James Brown, and on behalf of the Eastern Church of Christ located in Toronto, Canada, I'd like to welcome you to Saturday's edition of Walking Through the Bible, a podcast where we seek to study the Bible and the Bible alone. Please stick around afterwards for information on how you can contact us. But for now, if you have a Bible with you, please turn to the book of Genesis, and we'll turn you over to Jeremy Disacam for our study of the day.
Thank you, James, and welcome to all of our viewers. This is the 34th lesson in our study of Genesis. Yesterday we covered Genesis chapter 8, verses 15 to 19, discussing how God told Noah to leave the ark. If you missed that episode and would like to watch it, you can find it and all of our other podcasts on our website at www.eastendchurch.org. You can also find them on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/EastEndChurchOfChrist under the Walking Through the Bible Genesis playlist. Today we're going to begin with Genesis 8 verse 20 and read through verse 22. The text that you'll see on the screen is from the English Standard Version, but you're welcome to follow along with any version that you have. So let's now read Genesis chapter 8, beginning at verse 20. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and took some of every clean animal and some of every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the intention of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike down every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. Noah has just come out of the ark, and so he takes of every clean animal that he took on the ark and offered some of them as a sacrifice of thanksgiving to God. This is most likely the reason that clean animals were taken into the ark in larger quantities than unclean animals. God was pleased with this sacrifice, as he always is when we behave righteously, and made a determination in his heart that he would never again curse the ground for man's sake. Notice that the verse doesn't say that he will reverse the curse that he placed on the ground in Genesis 3:17, but he would never again curse the ground further because of mankind's sin. What was the reason for this determination? Because the intentions of man's heart is evil from his youth. Of course, the Calvinist wants to use this verse to teach that man was born in sin or has a sin nature from when he was born. The Bible doesn't teach that, and neither does this verse. Notice the verse says that the intentions of man's heart is evil from his youth, not from his birth. The way we use the word youth and the way the Bible uses the word youth are not exactly the same. Listen to Proverbs 5, verse 18. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. Now, unless people are advocating that this man was married as a baby, the youth in this chapter is on the lower end, referring to a time when this man was an older teenager, but most likely to a time when he was in his early 20s. The word is used in a similar way to describe the man Timothy. In 1 Timothy 4, verses 12 and 13, we read, Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. Timothy was not a baby nor a child preacher here. He was an adult, but still young enough to be considered a youth. In order to sin, we must have an ability to have the knowledge of right and wrong and actively choose to do the wrong. While there is no set age for this, it usually occurs when a child has developed into a teenager. So what is God saying here? He is not going to curse the ground, which would include through a worldwide flood, as punishment for mankind's sins. It doesn't mean that he won't judge us. It's just that he won't judge us this way. He also won't strike down every creature in a worldwide flood ever again. And finally, as long as the earth remains, God won't stop seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, or day and night. In other words, the earth will remain as it is as long as it remains. Now this doesn't mean that the earth will remain forever, for 2 Peter 3 verse 10 says that the earth will be burned up on the day of judgment. But as long as the earth does remain, it will continue functioning as God created it. On Monday, we're going to continue with God's covenant with Noah contained in chapter 9. With that, our time is up for today. Please join us, the Lord willing, tomorrow for the question and answer edition, as well as the weekly sermon edition of this podcast. The question is, should people wear religious titles? Well, the sermon will be titled, The Elephant in the Room. We will continue our study of Genesis, the Lord willing, on Monday, beginning with Genesis 9, verse 1.
Thank you, Jeremy. And to our viewers, we also thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Should you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below or email us at answerintheword@gmail.com. We'll try to respond to you as quickly as we can. We hope you'll join us, the Lord's willing, tomorrow when we'll be presenting 2 episodes. One is a question and answer session, while the other is a sermon from God's Word. Goodbye for now. Have a great day.
I'm not ashamed to